Dana Schwartz, and this is Rise or Die, the official companion podcast for Peacock's original series, Those About to Die. On this podcast, I go behind the scenes with the show's cast and creators to learn how they brought their brutal vision of Rome to life.
Gosh, people will freak out.
Rise or Die launches on July 18th. Watch or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Hello, I'm Alison Larkin, writer, comedian, narrator, and host of the Jane Austen podcast. Join me as we embark on a journey through Austen's timeless stories, starting with Pride and Prejudice. The Jane Austen podcast with Alison Larkin is available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome to Angel on Top, a podcast where we'll be watching and discussing every episode of Angel, one by one, spoiler-free, in tandem with Buffering the Vampire Slayer. I'm Brittany Ashley.
Did you say Buffering the Vampire Slayer?
I did.
Guess what? I'm Kristin Russo. Well, you may know me from Buffering the Vampire Slayer.
Hey, you're not Laura Zach.
I'm not. I love Laura Zach. Sometimes I aspire to be Laura Zach, but I am still Kristin Russo. And I'm here to tell you that this week, Brittany and I are going to be talking about Season 1, Episode 5, Room with a View, or Room with a View. Stay tuned to the end of this podcast every week for an original poem written by Brittany and Laura, recapping the Angel episode through his voice.
Room with a View was written by our great leader, Janice Benson, directed by Scott McGinnis, and it aired on November 2nd, 1999.
Listen, this is the one where
Cordelia, I love you, Cordelia. You're perfect, Cordelia.
yeah, right? So, I mean, probably we're going to play that jingle again, right, Brittany?
100%.
But this is the one where Cordelia falls in love with a rent-controlled apartment that turns out to be haunted, and a demon comes to collect Doyle's loans. This is the best episode.
It's really good. Someone had tweeted at us saying that this was an episode that showed us that the series is really good.
Right. Is this the first episode? Do you know if this is the first episode that Jane Espenson wrote?
I believe so, yeah.
Because, like, she knocks it out of the fucking park.
Totally.
And this, it's so good. It's so good. And I agree. I mean, I think that the first episodes are wonderful, and I thought maybe I was partial because of Cordelia, but I think it's just a really fucking great episode.
A fun fact is that the alternate title to this episode was supposed to be regarding lease, like R-E lease.
Oh,
like you'd put in an email.
Lease?
Mm-hmm.
I like that it's Room with the View, but also I actually didn't think about why it's shortened like that.
Because that's what it would look like in a newspaper ad.
Oh,
because you have to pay for characters.
Oh, shit. So they would say RM for room.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Good thing I'm here with internet expert Brittany Ashley. Let me know. Is that how you wrote your Craigslist personal ad?
Yeah.
Was it just GRL with a view? Girl with a view.
Girl with a finger.
So, but just FNGR. My next tattoo is just going to be FNGR in your honor. So, holy shit. Fucking Cordelia. Like, my notes, I want you to know that these pages that I took notes on are like double the size of normal, but I still took just as many pages of notes because I'm really excited.
There's so many allusions to who Cordelia was in Sunnydale and who she is trying to not be now that she doesn't live there. Like, though I don't believe that the ending was like the ending I necessarily wanted in terms of like how she kind of reverted back to this person. We'll talk about that later.
Sure.
But do believe it was like a really cool character study on her and what her reputation in high school meant to her. Because I think a lot of people who quote unquote peaked in high school definitely have some sort of existential crisis about like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, who am I in this real world when there's not like this structure of high school around me where I'm getting constantly recognized, constantly praised. And now I'm just kind of out in the world and I have to, earn my keep as just a human being.
This episode was the closest we've come to date to the episode where Cordelia has many layers. It's like we really dug back into Cordelia. I love her. I don't know if you know that, but I love her. And I love the way, we'll get there, like when the episode really gets going and like we're in like ghost, what do you call it? Poltergeist territory. Yeah. But I just really, I don't know. I felt like I loved the way that they used her weaknesses. Like they used the ghost as a way to show us like where she was emotionally.
Totally.
Real.
Should we hop into the first scene?
Let's fucking do it.
Yeah, the trash bags, but also her acting was so good that I actually thought that she was complaining about Angel being cheap.
Me too. That's what I wrote. I wrote Cordelia has had it with those cheap trash bags, and then I was like, oh, she's acting. Like she was great. So point number one, Cordelia is a great fucking actor. Charisma Carpenter, great actor. Cordelia, great actor.
But she's also making a really great point about how when she goes in for an audition, she goes in for the role, whereas other people who are auditioning go in and kind of like play the game of, dressing sexy and trying to persuade, a casting director or a director with something that isn't just their talent.
Right.
I don't know. It was just a really poignant thing for Cordelia to make, that she didn't want to be judged on her looks.
Yeah.
She wanted to be judged on her talent and her ethic.
Yeah, because she does want to be judged on her looks in many other regards, but she draws a line at acting.
Totally.
She's like, this is my craft, and I will not. Also, it's like a pretty timely, this was happening in Hollywood forever, but like currently when we're talking about it, it's a pretty timely thing to like be in 1999 and hear somebody talk about how like the girl who was like wearing a cat suit and, blah, blah, blah was the one that got the role, and just like how Hollywood works. So Angel, I knew going into this episode that I missed Cordelia, obviously. I didn't realize how much I missed Angel. Like, I like ragged on Angel a bunch when Angel was over in the Buffyverse. And so I was just like, but I forgot how wonderful it is to like think Angel is ridiculous.
But also see him as like a supporting character.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I guess that's true. I'm coming to an episode that really is a little bit flipped. But he just like walks out of his office and he's so sad. Like he's just like,
I love it.
He's just like fucking bummed about like his team and his life and he doesn't know what's up. He's just so sad. Okay, so I have a lot of Angel things, but I'm just going to stick with this scene because then a moment later, Doyle like goes and sits down and puts his feet on Angel's desk, and Angel gives him a fucking look that could like kill Doyle. He's like, that's my Pottery Barn desk, bitch. Get your fucking feet off of it.
Yeah, their arc that they have with their friendship or working relationship or whatever is a really fun one in the episode.
Yeah, Doyle... I haven't gotten to talk about Doyle at all because this is my first Angel episode.
Oh, yeah. Please tell us your thoughts on Doyle.
I don't like...
Tell me all your thoughts on Doyle.
Tell me all your thoughts on
Doyle.
I really like Doyle, but watching it now, having been talking about the patriarchy for so many Buffy episodes, like Doyle has a rough start. Doyle has a rough start even in this episode, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But I do really like Doyle as character. I just think he, like Xander, perhaps will hopefully grow out of some of the like sexual innuendos that he's always like hurling at Cordelia that I could leave.
Yeah, he is kind of Xander-y, except, it was sent from the powers that be and has like a purpose. Purpose.
All we're saying is that these two characters do things that are questionable in the land of the patriarchy. I wasn't going to play the jingle this soon in your podcast, but we've said it so many times that I feel like maybe we should just bring it.
Yeah.
the patriarchy.
Welcome back from the patriarchy jingle. We had, Brittany and I had a full discussion about other patriarchal things while you listened to that jingle. Namely moms who
are obsessed with their sons.
Yeah.
And who are like, you'll only love me and only me.
But you're right, though. Like, it is the patriarchy.
It's some sort of like internalized misogyny of like,
men are
what the-
powerful and I made this man. You know what I mean? Like there's like something about
It's like being like subservient to your son while also trying to control them. It's really weird.
Yeah.
And like trying to control another person to the point where like I will be the only person in your life.
Right. I saw Roxane Gay speak several weeks ago, and she was talking, maybe I already talked about this on Buffering, but she was talking about somebody said like, how do you feel about the amount of women who voted for Trump? And Roxane Gay immediately was like, you mean white women? And the white woman was like, yes, I stand corrected. But her reasoning, like her answer was sort of like, I feel like women want to, like a lot of white women know, they recognize where the power is and they want to stay close to the power. And so they recognize that their like white cis husbands are going to approve of them more if they vote in the way that they're going to vote. And so like I feel like there's a little bit of that here of like maybe this mom or several,
like not wanting to take your own agency and like be your own human being, that it's like I'm gonna latch on to my mini husband.
Yes, my mini husband.
Yeah.
Gross. I have one other thing from this scene.
Okay.
I don't know if you have more before we switch, but Angel says Cordette.
Okay, yeah. So this is a major fuck up because they've never said Cordettes in the Buffy series. It was only ever like written in scripts from the writers, or it was in fan fiction. And so this was like a weird moment where like it was something that was set out of canon.
Yeah, or like right. And
it sounded so weird coming out of his fucking mouth.
Oh my God, it's because it's weird. Even if people in Sunnydale, like Angels tells us, had called them the Cordettes, I thought it was fucking hysterical that Angel knew. You know what I mean? That he was like, well, they're called the Cordettes. Like, what?
Yeah, it was just a super weird moment where I think they were also trying to like over-explain what Cordelia was like in Sunnydale to people who didn't maybe watch Buffy.
Yeah.
And by like calling them the Cordettes.
Well, I wonder if Jane Espenson, however we say her last name, I wonder if she had written, you know what I mean? Because in the script, it's written Cordettes. Like, I wonder if she had written Cordettes and just had like forgotten that wasn't something that was said, or
but also
wanted
like,
to pull it in.
Her leading this band of followers, like Harmony, for instance, like that only lasted for as long as Angel knew her. I mean, it only really lasted like a season and a half until she was kind of like a part of the Scoobies in a way.
Right. Yeah, but then like her and Xander broke up, and I feel like she like went back to the, you know, like she like,
yeah,
I don't know. Anyway,
I always just picture
love that
her as
Angel,
like super independent after her and Xander broke up, and she was just kind of on her own, and then fucking Wesley.
Oh my God, Wesley.
So basically, Cordelia's feeling very down about her acting career and the shithole that she lives in. And she doesn't want to return a call from Aura, who, fun fact.
Ooh.
Do you know this fact?
I don't know this fact.
So Aura appeared once in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the series premiere, Welcome to the Hellmouth. And also she's mentioned because the first dead body that ever came out of Buffy, the boy who was killed by Darla, fell out of Aura's gym locker.
Shut up. I remember the dead guy. So Cordelia lives in this roach-infested apartment. Have you ever lived in a roach-infested apartment, Brittany?
I've lived in rat-infested
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
That was like, I needed a trigger warning. Like I was like so trusting. Like my eyes were wide open. And I was like, have you ever lived in a rat? And then I have
lived in 3 apartments that have had rats.
Fuck.
Well, one was a mouse, but honestly, what's the difference? One was
There's a really big difference.
One was in
Size.
Chicago when I lived in Little Italy. And my roommate, Kelsey, was opening up her like pancake mix, and a mouse was in it and jumped at her.
Oh,
and that was really hard. But however, I lived in like the windy staircase that went upstairs, and so they never would have gone into my room. It was just only in like the common areas and my roommates' rooms. In an apartment that I lived, or a house that I lived in Hollywood, we lived in a duplex, and on the left-hand side there were rats, and on our side we just desperately tried to keep the rats out, but you could hear in my old roommate's room them just trying to like dig their way in. It was like Shawshank Redemption. They were just trying to like dig their way through the wall. And then in my last apartment before this one, I lived on the first floor right next to the laundry room, and there was just like an infestation in the laundry room, and so you could always hear them going up the ceiling, going in the walls.
No.
And then like they died in the walls.
Oh, fuck.
I was just surrounded by like dead rats and walls. But roaches never.
I've had roach stories, and I've had a couple mice in New York, but my big roach story is actually not a roach story. It's a water bug story, which is, if you're not familiar with what a water bug is, it is a cockroach that can fly, and actually, I believe
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and I think they eat cockroaches. So like, they're fucked up. They're like these prehistoric, you know what I mean? They just like, they're big and they fly and they're disgusting. And I lived in Times Square one year, and
right, that one year that you were homeless.
Yeah. Yeah, I did have an apartment. I was one of the 4 people who had an apartment in Times Square. It's a very rare thing. But I was going to bed, and I don't know if you know this about me, but I don't have very good vision. So I had taken my glasses off, thereby becoming, pretty incapacitated. And I thought a bird flew by my head. And I was like, there's a bird in my room, oh no. And I put my glasses on my face and was looking and looking and looking. And at this time,
were you not freaking out that a bird could have been in your
room?
room?
Like I was freaking out, but I was like, what? I was like, what the fuck? But I thought it was a bird, which would have been bad, but not as bad.
Oh my God. I would be horrified if it was a bird.
But a bird,
if I thought it was a bird.
And
what?
Yeah, you could catch a bird.
But you can't kill a bird. You can't smash a bird.
Yeah, you just, I know.
But you can smash a water bug.
Well, maybe you can. I couldn't smash this particular water bug. But you could catch a bird and let it back outside. Like a bird is like a sweet little bird. It's like a bird. You all learned here that Brittany hates birds.
Oh, I hate birds.
Well, okay, so it wasn't a bird. And at the time I had these postcards on my wall that were just the eyeballs of like famous paintings, which is terrifying. I don't know what was wrong with me. And I looked over to the wall, and covering one of the eyes was on this giant fucking water bug. And it was like out of a horror movie. And I closed my door and I put a towel under it, and I went into the bathroom, and I didn't go back into my room for the whole night. And then in the morning, I packed a bunch of stuff and I left, and I called my landlord and I was like, you need to deal with the situation. And he like came and taped up all the holes. But I didn't sleep without my glasses on and my light on for like 4 months after that. It was very traumatizing. So that's my story. Anyway, Cordelia, this is bad.
She's got a couple problems. One, she has Nesquik coming out of her bathroom sink.
It's so gross.
But if it was actually chocolate milk, I think people would pay good money for that.
True.
Yeah, the roach problem is obviously the major thing. But something that we missed is that Doyle kind of asked her out on a date and was like
in a fucked up way.
And was like, if you ever need to get away from your apartment, please give me a ring. And so then she was like, fuck, now I'm desperate. Like, I guess I'll fucking call you.
Yeah, but you're right. I meant to mention that up at the top because I didn't like that. That was like a Doyle. Like, you're telling this girl, like, if she's ever like really fucked up, she can
strike
sleep
when
in
the
your
iron
bed.
is vulnerable. Yeah,
strike when the iron is vulnerable. Great way to put it.
But
yeah,
she calls Doyle.
She does it right in between like Daniel and David,
right?
Which actually doesn't make sense.
No, but hello, there's a little meaty piece that is waiting for Doyle, and he cannot pick up the phone right now.
Are you dropping hints for our future fuck watch?
I'll tell you my thoughts on him, but
later. Okay.
But
a meaty piece.
But it's clear that Doyle owes some debts. That's like part of his quote unquote dark past.
Right.
That we're just getting wind of.
Did we know that Doyle had a dark past at all before now, or is this the first episode where we're like touching on it?
I mean, I feel like grown men that dress like that most likely have a dark past.
So by observation, we did know.
Yeah.
Oh, fair. So before we go to the next scene, we get the credits. And since I'm a special guest hosting, I haven't gotten to talk about the credits.
Oh, shit.
At all. And I just I could talk about them for a while. I'm not going to. The one thing I want to say is I feel like they really nailed the credits overall because to me, it looks like Angel's dream. It's like if Angel was told, hey, man, you got a TV show. Can you help us design the credits? Like,
I'd love to.
He's like, I want it to be really dark and like pretty gritty. And like, can you make the transitions like really intense? Like it's just so fucking Angel the whole time. So
And also, can like the song have like a violin in it? So it's like I'm saving everyone, and then it's like the whole city because I'm like saving the whole city.
yeah. And also I was at the meeting and I was like, and at the end, can you put Cordelia in a crop top? Thank you. So I'm into the credits. I'm into like, since we're talking about the credits, I just want to also talk about the transitions because like, I don't know the next time I'll be here. And I just like, after watching the entire series of Angel, I forget a lot of stuff. I'm a person who forgets things. One of the biggest things I took away from the series that I remembered forever was the way that they transitioned between scenes. It's so upsetting.
It's like someone is taking a sword to your face.
It really is.
And then also is making you listen to like a cover band of Nine Inch Nails.
It's just so intense. It's so intense. Okay. Anyway.
Can we talk about Out of the Shower Angel?
Yes, we can. I wrote in very... Can you see my note from where you are?
Oops, just out of the shower.
Angel has 2 oops moments in this episode, and the first one is a major oops. Oops. He didn't even dry himself at all.
No.
He's soaking wet. He was like,
He's
somebody
like, hang on, I'm all wet.
Oh, yeah, he's pretty naked. I'm pretty into it. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. It's been a minute since I got to look upon those Angel abs.
I was
and
like
pecs.
into... I'm obviously not going to choose him just because it like limits what I can choose in the future.
Right.
But yeah, it was nice.
Pretty sexy. Pretty hunky, to use Jenny Owen Young's
Yeah.
term. But yeah, and then we go right from this beautiful, sexy moment to like some serious racism. I don't know if you... So Cordelia is like, it's like I live in the barrio or the projects. I'm a girl from the like she literally just pulls out of her...
I missed this. I think I was still transfixed.
You were mesmerized. Yeah, she just like, she does this thing where she like thinks into her mind, what are those places called where like people who are poor live?
Right, where it's like I'm better than them.
Yeah.
And now I'm like them.
Now I'm like, oh, can you believe that? And so that's a bummer moment. And Angel has this like retort where he's like, because she says like, I can't believe I'm a girl from the projects, and he's like, I don't know about that. He doesn't like go all the way and explain to her why it's fucked up, but it's like very apparent that Angel's like, that's fucked up.
And he's
Cordelia.
also dealing with the fact that he's like struggling with her like Louis Vuitton luggage, but it's also like, fuck, now Cordelia is gonna fucking live with me.
To the benefit of everyone but Angel. Like, I'm so happy about this.
But she like totally tops Angel and is like, I'm staying in your apartment. I can take the bed. You can grab my bags. I'm going to take a shower. Bye. Thanks.
Right.
Do you have moose? Of course you have moose.
Right. I'm glad you made that get that line in there because of course you do, Angel.
But then when he comes back, it's another oopsie. I'm just in my Hugh Hefner robe.
Yes.
What is going on?
Oops, I forgot my bathrobe tie is my note for that scene. Which
But
is
also, what is that fucking robe?
I mean, it's like Angel's like went to the Pottery Barn and then like went to like the Pottery Barn men's section and like got her fucking Pottery Barn robe, you know? But it is like...
Wait, Pottery Barn is sexy?
Yeah, I guess not. Pottery Barn is thick and terry cloth.
He went to like Fredericks of Hollywood.
Oh my God. What's like a place where a sexy, distinguished man gets a robe? I guess we're the wrong hosts for this.
Shit. Yeah, where do men get sexy clothes?
Please email Brittany at angelontop.podcast. I know that this is his deal. Like, he's always like, oops, here's my whatever. But it feels a little bit interesting to me that he's doing that with Cordelia there. Like, it was usually in the context of Buffy.
Right.
And I just feel like, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe he's just not modest. Like, he just is very comfortable with himself. But it feels like he's being especially sexy around Cordelia, which is interesting.
Yeah, and also were there people on set who were like, no, you can leave that open.
Is it Jane? It's Jane. Jane was like, and then Angel, clad only in his open robe.
But you know, also in David Boreanaz's defense, but like maybe he wanted it because he was like, yo, I'm never going to look this good again.
That's true. And he was right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, man, but whew, this is peak David Boreanaz right here.
Doyle thinks that Angel and Cordelia are sleeping together.
Yes. Cordelia's looking at herself in the tea kettle. Also, one of the goof sections of the IMDb thing let me know that if you look closely, you can see Angel's reflection in the tea kettle. Yep.
Wow.
Not a vampire after all.
Holy shit.
Also, Doyle. Okay, so right, Doyle. Doyle thinks that fucking they're sleeping together, and he does a dig. Were you going to talk about this dig that he does to Angel?
Where he's like, leave them for me.
Yeah. Mostly
was
anytime I can
frustrating.
cue you up to do his accent.
Yeah.
I'm here
Oh,
for
come
it.
on, mate. Leave them for me a little bit.
No, he's like that also, but he says like, you're all sensitive mouth and overhanging forehead, which is like,
Oh my God.
Really?
I missed that.
it's like a little bit like, I know you don't do sexual tension awards over here, but
Right.
like in my mind, I was like, ooh, nominated for sexual tension.
Oh, since you didn't listen to the last episode.
Did you do a sexual tension award? Oh yeah. Sorry, everybody. I'm a horrible friend and co-podcast maker. I didn't listen to the last episode yet.
Well, Laura gave her fuck watch to Doyle's bisexuality because there's a moment where he's like I kind of have a crush on Angel. There's like a moment where he it's kind in the beginning of the episode, it's kind of like no homo, but then at the end, he's like actually a little homo.
A little homo.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it here. I would like to like really watch this as the rest of the season goes on.
So the reason that Cordelia had to look in the tea kettle is because Angel doesn't have a mirror in his place, which obviously irritates Cordy. And when she's telling Doyle about it, she says something about like one of your relatives from England. And it's so clear that she has no idea who Doyle even is to think that he is from like the UK.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he could be, from
he could
Northern
be
Ireland.
right,
Yeah, but like
he's not
British.
Yeah, he's not from British is what I just said. So me and Cordelia are together here. Things that Angel is also upset about, the wet towel on his leather chair. Like, I just feel like we ragged on Angel a lot, but this episode was just like stacks on, like it was literally stacks on stacks, which is like Angel being the angeliest angel he's ever been. Also, Cordelia gets peanut butter in his bed.
Right. Well, that's why Doyle thinks that they're sleeping together.
Because, all that peanut butter sex play.
Well, I mean, there was that chocolate mint chip or whatever that, oh, never mind. Sorry, that's a spoiler.
Oh, but it's great because you didn't say what it is. So I don't know. And I think they don't know unless they know.
Someone will know.
Right. So whatever. Cordelia's just fucking going for it.
Yeah.
As Cordelia does. She's like ripping up the fucking what do you call it? Linoleum floor.
Yeah. She's like, I just want to see if there's wood underneath, just in case I'm here a little while.
For a while.
She hangs her trophies. She hangs her diplomas.
Her diploma, which is a nice little crossover moment where she's like, yeah, it was a rough ceremony.
But then Doyle makes some comment about like, I've got a dark past and I don't like to look back.
Yeah. And Cordelia's like, what? Look back on what?
Yeah. And he's like, nothing.
And then Angel's like, hey, Doyle, there's a large man looking for you because you know what I don't know how much you play the jingle over here, but I want to play it, Brittany. He's really being a bit of
Detective Angel.
Yeah, he tricks Doyle into believing that there's some guy after him, and he knows using his detective brain that Doyle's gonna run away, and he's like, yeah, not so fast.
Yeah, Angel's quick on his feet too. He gets right up there. He's waiting for Doyle before.
He also, Angel's risky.
Yeah, it's true. Could have gone any way. But
Because
Angel
also
took
in the
it.
last episode, which you didn't listen to, so you don't remember, and nothing holding against you.
Sorry.
But with Dr. Ronald, when he like makes up this whole backstory about his quote unquote wife, like he really takes a fucking risk. Like he makes some risky moves, and I'm into it. And that's how a detective works.
I know you're not going to pick Angel for your fuck watch, but like you're picking Angel in all of the ways.
Yeah.
You're using your eye. Nobody can see Brittany's eyes, but I can. And I can tell that Brittany is real into Angel in this episode.
I'm bi for Angel this episode.
Yeah. I mean, he's naked a lot, so I get it. So yeah, Angel's like, I'll trade you. I'll deal with your debts if you get fucking Cordelia an apartment so she gets the fuck out of here. Which is great because it gives us an apartment montage.
Oh,
which I always
totally. Like a nightmare apartment shopping montage.
Pretty realistic, I think, based on like what Cordelia's budget is. This reminded me, not to like make this a two-story heavy overall, but when my sister moved to New York, which was a very brief stint for her, she was looking for apartments and she had a pretty low budget. And one of the apartments that she wanted, she almost took, was this person's living room. Okay, it was like a person's home. And in their living room, they had built like a tower that had like enough space for like a bed that you would climb up. So you would sleep in a nest in the living room. That's what they were renting. And my sister, who was like 19 or 18 or however old she was at the time, was like, this is great. I can fit my computer right here, but you couldn't sit up. Like you couldn't like sit fully up or stand up in the space. She did not take it because I told her that I would disown her as my sister if she took it. But it was really rough. And it reminded me, this montage scene reminded me of that.
It reminded me of my first apartment that I moved to LA and got. I had found it on Craigslist and I was like so eager I was just crashing with one of my friends when I first moved here, and it was like the fourth place that I had crashed at, and I'm like, I just need a fucking apartment and I can't spend over $700 a month. And this was like 6 years ago. But I found this guy on Craigslist who was like, yo, I've got this pretty new apartment in Thai Town and it's $700. You have your own bedroom. It's like up this staircase and like you have your own private room. When I met him, he was like semi-normal. I only lived there a month because I started to realize that he was going up to my room.
No.
I found like
Brittany.
handprints on the windows.
Brittany!
And one time my friend Christian and my friend Chris came over and they were just waiting for me while we were about to go out. And I was just like taking a shower and they were just sitting in the living room. And he comes out of his room and he's like, this is my fucking house. And they're like, okay. So when I got out of the shower, I was like, weird, they're not in the living room. And I walked upstairs in my room and they were just sitting in my room drinking a bottle of whiskey being like, your roommate's fucking crazy. You need to get out of here.
Holy
And then I
shit.
started to experience it. And so one night,
Oh, this makes me feel so unhappy for you and unsafe for you.
yeah. So one night, this is when I'd lived there for maybe like 28 days or something. So I didn't already pay for next
this
month
is the
yet.
other version of 28 days later.
But me and my friend Christian and my friend Kenny, we grabbed a bunch of garbage bags and we like snuck up to my room at like midnight and we packed all my stuff and we heard, you moving out? He knew the sound of a deflating air mattress. He was familiar with this sound. And so we like moved me out and he was yelling at me like the whole way down. And he was like, you're a fucking bitch. Your friends are so disrespectful. You're so immature. We had maybe talked maybe like 5 times. And I like every time I cooked something, I like cleaned it immediately. And I was hardly home. I was working 2 jobs. And then the next day I went on Craigslist and I saw that he had posted like a new listing for a roommate. And it was like, only looking for respectful roommates that are 26 and older. Because he knew that I was 25.
Hi, I'm Dana Schwartz, and this is Rise or Die, the official companion podcast for Peacock's original series, Those About to Die. On this podcast, I go behind the scenes with the show's cast and creators to learn how they brought their brutal vision of Rome to life. I talked to acclaimed director and executive producer Roland Emmerich,
When I saw the first race, I was like giddy.
actor Ewan Ryan,
For an actor, that's a dream, although you do get a lot of sand in your sandals.
and so many more.
You helped summon those ghosts back onto that stage.
Every day when I went to set, I was giggling about like what I saw.
I think it's going to be a breathtaking thing.
People will freak out.
Rise or Die launches on July 18th. Watch or listen wherever you get your podcasts.
With your long-forgotten name, we call upon you. We call upon you. In the words of the unspeakable language, we call upon you. We call upon you. By the spilt blood of the wicked, who walk upon this world, sprouting the words of false idols, we call upon you. We call upon you. On the land of the dead harvest, that which brings the earth itself into your service, Yamal, we call upon you. We call upon you. We call upon you. We call upon you. Yamal calls upon you.
The Sprouting, a Call of Cthulhu actual play podcast by Blighthouse Studio. Find us on your podcatcher of choice.
God, that's terrifying.
It
though.
was crazy, but it reminded me of one of those dudes that Cordelia was going to live
yes,
with.
the scratch in his belly dude,
Yeah.
right? That was like, only one guy is the key and it's me.
Yeah. It was fucking weird and controlling, and he only wanted to live with women that were younger than him so that he could control their every move. It was so creepy. If I would have lived there any longer, I probably would have been murdered.
I'm really glad that you weren't, and I'm really glad Cordelia didn't move into that apartment either. So then Cordelia finds her new house. really. And
it's got a fireplace.
Right. And
it's got an open floor plan. It's got columns. It's got natural light. It's fully furnished.
Yeah. And Cordelia knows. She's like, this is too good to be fucking true.
But we see a fucking face.
Freddy Krueger face.
Go through the wall. It reminded me of that scene in Ace Ventura when nature calls when he's trying to get his head out of the rhino's anus.
I feel like this really highlights like our personality. Like, you're like, it reminds me of this. It reminds me of Nightmare on Elm Street. Are you familiar with the Nightmare on Elm Street? Okay. So the first, if you're listening to this and you know what I'm talking about, because there's like a really iconic scene in the first ever Nightmare on Elm Street where Nancy is asleep and the wall behind her kind of turns into this like latexy stuff. You know, it's like a very, very similar, and the face sort of like pushes through it. It's the same.
Similar, I don't know if you're familiar with the Ace Ventura franchise, but there's a scene where he's in a like an elastic rhino, like a fake rhino, and he's trying to exit because none of the fans inside of it will work because that's where he's like surveilling. And he has to, the only hole in the entire like rhino is the little anus. And so he has to fit his whole body out of the anus.
Wow. One other thing in this like first Cordelia's new house scene that I wanted to talk about is this moment. She just has this very brief quote where she's like, it's perfect. And then she's like, and I'm going to remove this wall. And Doyle is like, I thought you said it was perfect. And Cordelia's like, part of it being perfect is there being one tiny flaw that I can fix. And I was like, damn, Cordelia. Like, that's how people talk about like their partner. Yeah, it was just like, I know we know she's layered, but it was just like a nice little layer. Are you looking for the gift, the anus gift for me right now?
I'm sorry.
Cool. So we took a brief moment and Brittany just showed me the video of Ace Ventura coming out of the rhino's butt. So thank you, Brittany.
You're very welcome. But Angel is roughing this guy up.
Oh, yeah. Angel's really fucking dramatic in this scene. I mean, I know that, like, Angel's dramatic.
Right.
But he's like, you get lucky and you last 10 minutes. Really lucky and you're unconscious for the last 5. And I'm like, dude, calm down.
Exactly. Like, your name's Angel.
Yeah.
But this dude, he kind of looks like if a dinosaur and Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers slept together and had this baby.
That's great. I love that. I think that maybe that's what happened. We don't know how demons are made. Maybe that's how.
But they end up coming to an agreement.
Yes.
And it doesn't seem like that great of an agreement because it's like, we're right back where, it's basically like he still has to pay his debt. And Angel's like, okay, cool.
Right.
Just wanted to check.
Yeah, just want to make sure. You cool to wait, man? Great. Good talk. So Cordelia's apartment is haunted. House, really. It's really a house, not an apartment. It's haunted, and whatever, Doyle and Angel have this like little scene where Angel's like, why is your life like this? Tell me all your secrets, because they're really getting romantic.
Tell me all your secrets, Doyle.
Tell me all your
secrets, Doyle.
But then we get into like the real haunting. And this is good shit. Have you seen Poltergeist? Are you a Poltergeist watcher? Mm-mm. Do you watch horror movies, or you don't like horror
I more
movies?
watch like horror comedies. Like Scream, like the Scream series is like one of my favorite, things to watch.
Yeah.
I like the 90s like slasher films because there's still some comedy to them, but as far as like horror movies go, unless they're like the recent contemporary kind of like social thrillers, I haven't really watched a ton of like old horror movies.
Well, Poltergeist is really great. Also, Poltergeist is like super creepy because like the little girl who played the little girl in Poltergeist died really young, and like other actors that were in the movie also died.
Yikes.
Like this like crazy weird thing. But this is like Poltergeisty. This is Poltergeist 101. It's like the water is boiling, the bed is drifting, the fucking like radio is turning on. This is a 101 style haunting.
Right, but also like when the drawers keep opening, it's like, wow, you unpacked quickly.
Yeah, Cordelia was so excited to have drawers.
They also turned on some smooth jams.
Yeah, went right to the station that Maud, I guess that's Maud's preference of music.
Yeah, it's nice that the radio stations haven't changed in 50
She has her
years.
special radio. But Cordelia is tough as fucking nails. I mean, we know Cordelia is tough as nails, but like this bed is in the air and this bitch sits in it all night. She doesn't even jump off of it or anything. And she's like, yes,
I'm Sunnydale. You're not scaring me, you know.
Oh. And she's right. She's dealt with demons and ghosts and all sorts of monsters.
But then we cut to the morning and she, much like your water bug situation, she has not slept and she's just like cradling herself.
Right. Well, she hasn't slept, but she also hasn't left. It's like she's scared, but she is not backing down.
Right.
And then she goes into the fucking bathroom.
And then we see the ghost.
Yeah. A mirror reveal always gets me.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because
you always know. Or like a fridge reveal or like a behind the door reveal.
But I'm always scared of mirrors. Like, not always, but like if I'm really freaking myself out, a mirror is like the top number one thing that I'll get scared about because there's so many fucking scenes like this where you look in the mirror and there's somebody else there.
But you can tell she's a ghost because of the amount of baby powder on her face.
Can we talk
hair.
about, like, they really went hard.
Yeah.
They really were like, she really needs to look ghosty.
So this actress that plays Maud is named Beth Grant. And she's pretty much been in everything. More recently, she's Beverly in The Mindy Project. She's Melly in One Mississippi.
Wow.
She's Tilly from King of the Hill. And
Holy
she's
shit.
had guest roles on like every single major TV show.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, she's great. She's especially great, I think, because we get her as an old ghost and also a younger mother. I feel like she really does great in both parts.
Totally.
I didn't know that she was a big deal person. Cordelia, sorry, I keep bringing us back to Cordelia, but that's why I'm here, right?
That's this whole episode, girl.
Episode. But like, so she goes out, she's moving the chair's moving back, the chair. And then like the last yank of the chair is really extreme. And I just, like, if you love Cordelia as much as I do, I want you to go back and I want you to watch the moves she does because it's like a really intensely wonderful jump where she like kicks and it's just, Charisma Carpenter nails it.
But you know, the weird thing is that when Doyle and Angel show up at her doorstep in the middle of the day.
In the middle of the day!
How did he get there?
How the fuck is he standing outside in the sun with a cactus? Normal. And then like they try to like cover it up because Doyle's like, let me close these shades.
So that her boss doesn't get burned.
Like, how was Angel in the trunk? And does Angel walk around? You know what I would love? Is if Angel walked around with a little umbrella.
But there was one really self-aware moment where Angel walks into her place without an invitation and she's like, wait a minute. And he's like, oh, well, you said the other day when you have a place that I'm welcome to come over, which stood as like a standing invitation. And she's like, what? These rules are getting really screwed up.
Yeah.
Like, I think that it's somewhat of like their writers being like, okay, we get that like there's limitations with like the rules that we've set up. So please just like let this happen. Was the reason that Cordelia was trying to hide it from Angel and Doyle is because she knew that they would try and convince her to move out of it?
I think so. Yeah. I think she wants the apartment and she's terrified they're going to find out and then make her leave.
And also to maybe play up the like funny moments of like, yeah, let me hide this face. Yeah, let me hide this. Waka waka, look that way.
Let me catch these scissors.
Yeah.
This like, so like the trophy thing happens, the scissors thing happens, a couple things happen, but like the fucking die. So actually, Brittany, if I may, let's just like listen to the sound clip.
I am not giving up this apartment.
It's haunted.
It's rate control.
Cordy, it says die.
Hey, maybe it's not done yet. Maybe it's diet. That's friendly, a little judgmental, sure. I am not giving it up. It's perfect and beautiful. It's so me. I need it.
You don't need this. It's just a place. You're more than that.
How? How am I more than that?
I'll die before I give up this apartment. And Maud is like, all right, dear, if that's what you think is best. And
that's an amazing Maud impression, Brittany.
But what also freaked me out is probably 30 minutes before this clip, I had just booked a trip to Florida to visit my grandma. And I was like, oh, God, this sounds so creepy. And I just talked on the phone with my grandma, too. So Angel and Doyle are trying to talk her out of it, rightfully so.
Right. And this is like when shit gets really real.
Totally.
If it goes away, then it's like I'm still getting punished. And Cordelia's like, I did all these bad things. Like, I was really shallow in high school and like I did all this fucked up shit, which is like interesting considering how the episode ends.
That's what I'm saying. Is what I was saying in the beginning. It's like I didn't totally dig how the arc ended.
Right.
Because she, if anything, she kind of like reverted back in a way.
Yeah, but it is very human. I think it's very human to like when you're in distress to like reflect on things and like want to be a better person. But then once you're out of that distressed place to kind of like revert back to some of that shit. I don't know. But this is like really sad. It's really sad that like she believes that bad things have been happening to her because she didn't do good things. Like it's like we're getting a lesson that Cordelia believes in karma right now.
Totally.
You know?
So we basically hear that this apartment means more to her than just a place to live. It represents in some profound way, like she will forgive herself for the way that she treated other people in high school, and it represents hope. And Angel thinks that she's talking about how they're both on the same road looking for redemption because she's like, what? No, I mean, because you had that mansion.
Right. But we learned that Maud had a heart attack. We think, right? Like they're doing their detective work, and Maud Pearson had a heart attack at age 57. So they're like, oh, this is what the deal is. But Angel, getting better at his detective work every day at Angel, is like, I don't know, guys. Usually it's like a more dramatic death that would create a ghost like this. And they're like, no, you don't know anything. We know this is the answer. Then Cordelia makes one really brief comment about Patrick Swayze, which I was hoping we might touch upon.
It's a note here where I said, yikes.
Continue. Why yikes?
Because she said, why isn't Patrick Swayze dead when you need him to be?
Oh, but now he is dead.
Yeah.
Oh, yikes.
Because Patrick Swayze did die 10 years later in 2009 from, I believe, pancreatic cancer.
Fucking womp womp.
Yeah.
I just got so excited about Ghost and like forgot all about the fact that Patrick Swayze did in fact die.
Right.
Oh,
but
yeah, it got darker. It got darker. Thanks for bringing us to that.
Oh, it's going to get darker in this episode, too.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
But Cordelia wants to do a cleansing spell, and Doyle's like, I've got a guy in Koreatown who can give me some sick bile. And Angel's like, maybe Kate knows something about this heart attack that we just looked up. Maybe I just want to go talk to Kate.
Oh, you know that, like, I feel like the scene is here just for me. Like, the universe knew that I would be special guest hosting with you and that I really wanted to talk about my massive crush on Kate. And I wouldn't have been able to if she wasn't in the episode.
But she also, like, doesn't really serve a purpose in this episode.
No, none. That's what I'm saying. She's literally just here for me.
Yeah.
She doesn't. She's like...
It's like when you have a crush on someone and you're like, oh, do you want to go, like, look at ottomans?
Yeah.
Hey, you left your hair tie here.
Right.
Let me come bring it to you.
I know that they're really, like, in short supply. So let me get that over to you. But so he goes to Kate, and the thing I love about this scene, apart from Kate, who I want to kiss, I do. I love Kate. I love her so much. I think she's so attractive. She's definitely like my type, you know. She's like got a heart, but also is a cop. Like she has like the
yeah,
heart.
She doesn't do it for me.
No, I know. I've heard you talk about this, but she does it for Laura, right?
She does it for Laura.
Laura's
a lot.
real into it. Yeah, she just has like just the right amount of hard and soft for me. You know, she's like just enough hard edges and just enough soft.
But never wins the butch off.
No, yeah, I guess she doesn't, but she tries. You know,
she tries too hard, which makes her lose more.
But what I love about Kate in this scene is that she basically is like, "Oh, you're a detective, huh?" Like she doesn't buy it.
But there's some crazy shit that happens when we know where Angel is, which is that Cordelia's in her apartment and she hears Angel's voice being like, Cordelia, I'm in the bedroom. And we're like, oh, okay. And then she walks into the bedroom and you realize it's a fucking ghost who could change her voice to be David Boreanaz. What a fun trick.
It is. And then this is like, again, Poltergeist 101. This is totally a poltergeist ability. You know, if you're not just any ghost can do this. You have to be a poltergeist to get these skills. She's like thrown into the wall very dramatically.
She's like, too bad you didn't leave my son alone.
Yeah.
And Cordelia's like, your son?
Yeah, Cordelia's like what the fuck?
Did I date him? I'm like, what? Like so confused.
And we learn that there have been a shit ton of suicides at this house. Like Kate's like, sorry, man, no murders. And Angel's like, oh yeah, well, I am a detective.
Yeah, they have to like pull up the suicide database.
Yeah, fucking hit search suicide.
Yeah,
in your
and
database.
The major thing was that Angel was starting to think that maybe someone had staged them as suicides. And so we also get the piece of info that Maud and her son Dennis used to argue a lot, and that he had a fiance that his mom didn't like, but it was one of those mommy loves her son a little too much situations.
Right, totally. Also,
which I feel like isn't totally uncommon.
The mom-son thing. Yeah. It's like, it's weird. It's creepy. I don't know. I don't like it. Sorry
I don't
if you're
like it either.
I appreciate if you're a mom who loves your son, but like take it down a notch, you know? I also want to talk about the fact that Angel stands very close to Kate in this scene. Like, and you see her like kind of into it. She's like, oh, are we here to do detective work or are we here to do detective work?
Right. Or he called her up and he was like, hey, I got some like detective work. Are you like free right now? Or
do you have any manila folders?
Yeah. I ran out. Maybe I should come pick them up from you.
Oh, then the classic scene of Angel at a payphone where he calls, and actually it's Angel leaving a message this time. But
yeah, and Angel and Doyle are on the way because they hear because you could like call a number and you can call the voicemail message on an answering machine.
Yes,
and you could hear what messages were on there, and they had heard one that was from Maud pretending to be Angel.
Right, and they were like, "Oh shit!"
This was a cool little thing that was used in Scream 3.
Ooh.
Where the killer could disguise their voice as any one of the people's voices.
Right.
And so that's what confused everyone.
Something that happens before we get into this next scene at Cordelia's is that Maud says to Cordelia, you don't deserve anything. And it's like one of the, like, she's already been like kind of building on this point of like, you're worthless and what have you. And it's really affecting Cordelia. But I bring it up because then later she like uses that line as like a way to drag her down.
Right. Well, it's like, you're not good enough for my boy. You're not good enough for anyone. You're not good enough for anything. And she's just like really twisting the knife in Cordelia's insecurities. I would love to talk about how this episode kind of felt like a blend of I Only Have Eyes for You meets Out of Mind, Out of Sight.
Yes.
Where it was like Cordelia is being specifically targeted like in Out of Mind, Out of Sight. But in I Only Have Eyes for You, she has to like play into this dynamic of being Dennis's fiance. And regardless of like the fact that it's not her, everything's still applicable. Like all the things that are being used against her are still applicable to Cordelia's situation, showing like the universality of it all.
Totally. I Only Have Eyes for You is an episode that immediately came to mind in this bit for me. The writer's room really has like kind of one narrative arc for a ghost. And we're seeing it repeated. So
trigger warning?
Yeah, right? Because this is intense. This ghost makes a noose
out of like a cable wire.
And I don't understand why Cordelia can't get out of it. It's like it doesn't seem like she should be stuck in it, but she is.
Like she's maybe in like a vulnerable, weakened state. Maybe
because
that's why.
She says when they come in, because Angel and Doyle come in and they take Cordelia down, and thankfully she is still with us because I don't know that I would have done this episode.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
No. But she says she'll be back, and Cordelia says she knows me, and she says it like, and like I have a little arrow up to this "you don't deserve anything" line. It's like Cordelia at this point has been so thrown that she feels like this ghost knows her and knows that she isn't worthy of anything. But yeah, and Angel's like right on the case. You know, you're playing a role in her delusion. He's like trying to talk her out of it, but is not having a lot of success.
But is also like, damn it, you're Cordelia Chase.
Yes! I fucking love this. It's like, because I poked fun at Angel earlier for like knowing they were called Cordettes or whatever, but it really does feel like he fucking knows Cordelia in this scene. Mm-hmm. Like he knows that she just needs to be like challenged. I mean, it doesn't work 100%, but he screams at her. He also screams in Latin. I don't know has Angel spoken Latin on Angel yet, or is this Angel's first?
Ooh, can we get like a Latin Angel jingle?
We're requesting a lot of jingles this episode. So, you know, it's an episode that I'm on when there's like 47 jingle requests.
So if you want to create a Latin Angel jingle, email it to me at angelontop.podcast at gmail.com.
Yes, please.
I'll be accepting jingles.
Oh my God, that's what you should do. You just accept submissions.
That'd be great.
Yeah, save some work. Then to complicate fucking matters, these dudes show up with their guns.
They've got like 3 guns drawn. It kind of looks like Demon Pulp Fiction.
Right?
Because now Maud is more pissed that they have visitors.
So mad. She says, what is it? Too many people?
Yeah.
Too many people.
Which I get it. Honestly, I get it.
Yeah. Like fucking 7's a crowd, you know, however many they are. This reminded me of, did you watch Weeds ever?
I didn't.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you watch.
Should we do a podcast about weeds where we smoke weed every episode? episode?
Yeah. Oh my God. That's actually a fucking great idea for a podcast, especially since I don't even smoke weed. So it would be all new for me.
Weed on weed?
Like, I don't smoke weed
Weeds
and
on
you
weed?
don't watch
Weeds on weed.
Weeds on weed. Weed on weeds? Weeds on weed.
Weeds on weed.
Weeds on weed. I get it.
And also Joss Whedon. So it'd be Weeds on Weed by Whedon.
Oh, but there's an ending to an episode the ending to a season, actually, that's a lot like this, where you're like, oh no, shit's complicated. Oh no, shit's complicated. And then like guns are drawn and you're like, oh shit. And then it's weeds. So the credits roll and you're like, oh my God, it's the end of season whatever. And I have to wait till the next season. Anyway. Maud is fucking pissed. She's pissed that people are breaking her house. She's pissed that there's too many people there. Angel tosses somebody, I think, because I wrote, ooh, an angel toss, which I think is that means. There's a great scene where a great moment where Cordelia gets like blasted back into the bedroom.
Oh, totally. The special effects, I mean, brava. Knives parties.
Yeah, knives on strings that you can't see. And then I don't mean to be dramatic, Brittany, but
is this about the shredded paper?
You should talk about the shredded paper before I get to all of these caps that I have. I'm going to read them, my caps, as soon as we get there. But I believe I think the shredded paper comes before the caps. So
it was like what you find in your Easter basket. It was like those were just put on a fan and just like spun around. Yeah. And Cordy, gets pushed back into her room and she's like, listen, I'm sorry your son killed you, okay? and then do we want to get to Maud?
Yeah.
You should be sorry, you stupid little bitch.
You stupid little bitch. Bitch has always been allowed on television, I think.
Of course it is, right? Because of the patriarchy.
Wonderful toss to the patriarchy. I'm just gonna read all the words that I wrote in caps, if that's okay with you. This is following you stupid little bitch from Maud. I'm a bitch. I'm not a sniveling, whiny little cry Buffy. I'm the nastiest girl in Sunnydale history. I take crap from no one. Back off, Polygrip. You think you're bad, all mean and haunty? And then I skipped a couple lines. Lady, the bitch is back.
Do you know what Polygrip is?
It's the thing that keeps your dentures in, right?
It is a denture adhesive cream. I had to look it up because I was like, oh, like a polyamorous grip person who worked on set.
Oh my God. Yeah, that grip.
You Polygrip. Travis.
Oh, there probably was at least one Polygrip.
I'm sure.
On the set, right?
All grips are poly.
So yeah, I mean, Cordelia remembers that she's a bitch.
But there's that cool switch that we see in Cordelia. And she's like, wait a minute, this is familiar.
Yeah.
And she just instantly is like, you know what? I am a fucking bitch. And I'm a fucking bitch so hard that I'm going to tell you how nasty I am. Get the fuck out of my house. And it makes Maud like zap away.
We think, right? Because you're like, oh, she did it. She's gone.
Right.
But then
we're like, oh, easy.
This crazy thing happened. Like, do you understand what happens here? Because I don't understand what happens here.
No.
Cordelia's eyes turn blue.
It made it seem like Phantom Dennis found his way into Cordelia somehow. But where was he this whole time? Because I think it was like, I'm going to show you what you did to me so that you see how much of an awful mother you are.
Right. But it was
very
weird
confusing.
because there's that whole scene when they get the wall open is like when they visually show us that Dennis is released. So it like doesn't seem like it's Dennis and it doesn't seem like it's Maud. It's just like Cordelia suddenly like turns into
a sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was very weird because it was like, wait a minute, is she a ghost now? Why are her eyes white?
I mean,
like,
and I was into her ice blue eyes. I will not tell a lie. Yeah, she knocks the fucking wall down and then we go to this like flashbacks
from 1946.
Before we get to 1946 in the flashback, though, just one quick shout out to the zoom in on the skeleton face. There was a real nice camera work.
Like a Tales of the Crypt
style.
Yes.
It was like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Skeleton. And then I'm sorry. Yes.
If you didn't know it was a skeleton, you're going to find out more. You're going to find out more. And you just found out more.
So then, yeah, 1946. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah. We go back.
We all have mom issues, but holy fuck.
I mean, this fucking woman bricked her son into a wall. Also, like, shout out to like the butch off here. Like, Maud's getting some points. You know what I mean? This bitch is like, I know how to fucking lay brick and fucking plaster the wall and can hang a painting right over your ass.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was very handy of her.
Yeah. That's what I wrote. So handy.
Yes. But she hates his fiance and she's like, I'd rather have you dead than have you run off with her. And she ties him up. She puts him in the wall and she's laying bricks over him. And she killed her son and then immediately had a heart attack.
Right. Karma.
Did they all see that vision? Or did only we see that flashback? Did someone like pull down a screen and then they could see it? Like,
right. How
would
did they see it? It seemed like it could have been that powerful of a poltergeist situation that like it was visible. But yeah, I guess they didn't make that clear. My question was, this guy is in a wall and he's dead and now he's a skeleton. But like, you don't just like decompose inside of a wall and have nobody notice.
I mean, that's how I felt about the rats that were in my wall that died. I know this firsthand.
Do you know that smell is very, very vivid.
It does go away after like a week and a half.
Oh, so but that's a rat. Like, how long does it take? Oh, this is morbid. Point being, like, fluids and smells, like things would happen. You don't just turn into a skeleton.
Right.
Is more my point. Unless she did. I mean, Maud was handy. Maybe she did something to him before he died to, like, you know, embalm him prematurely. I don't know. Anyway, we get a really beautiful moment after the flashback that I call the light up skeleton. It's like all of a sudden the skeleton's eyes like light up. And
wait.
Yes.
I think we need to do something first.
Oh, what? Oh, yes. What do we need to do?
Because we've seen everyone now.
Oh, yes, we have. Okay. There's another jingle here, right?
Flirting, understanding, consent, and kissing. Flirting, understanding, consent, and kissing. That watch.
Okay. Well, here we are.
Well, ladies first.
Is it like some kind of I'm butcher than you play? That I'm the lady because you're butcher than me?
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, so I think it's going to surprise everybody that I'm going here this quickly.
Wow.
I know, but I'm doing it. I'm sorry, but I'm picking Cordelia.
Wow. Yeah, that's who I picked in the first episode.
Yeah, it's just like, I know that there's going to be moments, I'm sure, where I regret having made this choice now because I cannot make it again, but I cannot watch this episode and not pick Cordelia.
This is her episode.
This is like everything I love about Cordelia smashed into one episode. So I choose Cordelia. Yeah, I would like to flirt with her and for her to understand that what I mean is that I want for her to consent to kiss me. And then also, I would like to fuck. Who'd you pick?
I'm going to go with a choice that, you know, this person went through tragedy. This person, I believe, was a romantic. And this person died, you know, still being in love with someone. And they have the wisdom of being, you know, most likely like in their 30s, but having lived 50 extra years, which is Phantom Dennis.
Wow.
And because by proximity, Phantom Dennis is Cordelia's roommate.
Yeah.
And if you have that cool of a roommate, you've got to be fucking cool.
Wow.
And I think just in general, it's like Phantom Dennis stuck up for what was right and stuck up for Cordelia being able to stay in this apartment and breaking the pattern by being like, fuck you, Mom.
Right.
You're fucking crazy. I'm sticking up for what I believe in. Go away to the ghost realm.
Yeah.
I'm staying here in Cordelia's house. And we talked about this off mic, but, you know, he hasn't been able to touch or be touched in the last 50 years. Like,
yeah. So he's going to be
all been
in
building
it.
up.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm almost 30. I'm almost at my sexual peak.
You know, you know what's great, Brittany, is that like you and I can grab a bottle of wine, go over to Cordelia's, and fucking go to our separate places, you know? Like, we're in it. We're going on a double date. Also, it would be really interesting because you wouldn't be able to see Phantom Dennis. So anyway, visually, that would be an interesting thing. is all I'm saying, you know?
Oh, I love your touch. And he was like, I'm all the way over here. That was just the wind. I'm like, right. Totally. God, you're hot.
Flirting, understanding, consent, and kissing. Flirting, understanding, consent, and kissing. Watch.
Oh, we're back. Wowie, wow.
Wow, it was great. Was it good for you? It was good for me.
Yeah. You know, I came into this episode not knowing who I was going to choose, but it just feels right, you know?
Yeah, I think you made the right choice.
Yeah.
I think I also made the right choice.
Totally.
I know that we don't do, again, sexual tension award, but like this next bit where Angel is with Doyle and like, he's like, you know, at some point I'm going to need to hear the story of your life.
Oh my God.
Kiss.
It felt like two people who were like just starting to date.
Yes.
And one of them's like clearly hiding something and is like,
I need
you know,
to
like,
know you.
Soon enough, you're going to have to tell me about like what's going on with you and your parents.
Yeah.
Like soon enough, you're going to have to tell me why you never talk about them and we've been dating for 4 months.
Right? Like,
sorry, I keep putting my hair behind my ear. I'm doing like my Joey Potter impersonation. Yeah. I just don't understand.
Oh, I wish everyone could see the visual because it's really good. But yeah, it's just a very intimate moment that I would like to end with a kiss. And it doesn't. And I don't know why they cut that out, but I'm sure it happened in real life.
And he's like, just give me time.
Yeah. And it is dark. Like you can tell we're going dark with Doyle. We're not there yet, but you can tell we're getting there.
But right now, we only think it's about like debt, which like obviously if you're a millennial in 2018, it's like, yeah, we all have $50,000
right.
loans.
Join the club, Doyle.
Right. And also it's like an unfair advantage because Doyle knows everything about Angel's life, but Angel doesn't know anything about Doyle except for like he was sent to him kind of.
Yeah. And that's probably why like in their relationship, their loving relationship, Angel's feeling vulnerable because he knows more, you know, he knows more about him than Doyle, than vice versa.
Right.
And that's a vulnerable position to be in. And our Angel doesn't like to be vulnerable.
No. So then we end on this final scene, which I have mixed feelings about.
Yes, because Cordelia sort of reverts.
Yeah. So the part that I did like is that Cordelia's like, yeah, I have a roommate and it's Phantom Dennis.
Oh, so good.
Which is also, I read that it was a play on the Phantom Menace. Star Wars.
Oh, I feel like I should have known that. And yet it did not occur to me.
He like moves her pop and then he also like.
Her pop, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, we learned now. And Brittany says pop.
And then he turns on the TV and she's like, Phantom Dennis, I'm on the phone, obviously. But she's on the phone with Aura again. And she goes back to like, oh my God, tell me what she's wearing.
Who do you think they were talking
nasty.
about? That's what I wanted to know.
Maybe Harmony?
Well, because like Harmony's back in Sunny, but I don't think Aura would know that Harmony's back in Sunnydale. So like, were they talking about like Willow? Were they talking about somebody we know? Is what I want to know. You know,
maybe not, because I don't know if she'd call anyone.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyone so nasty that we like know of.
Right.
But yeah, it kind of like bummed me out that she went.
Right. But that's the thing with Cordelia is like, I feel like she didn't revert, right? She just like, it's like when Cordelia feels her power, part of what that does to her is it makes her the kind of bitch that we like don't love, right? So like, we don't want her to be hating on other women. You know, we're seeing her grow. We're seeing her like recognize, be afraid of karma. But it is very Cordelia that like as soon as she feels that she's gotten, because she did say, as soon as I get this house, I'll know that my sins will have been forgiven. What she didn't realize is that what that means is don't continue to commit those sins because whatever. But I feel like she feels better, you know, like she's like been absolved. And so she can just do her fucking Cordelia
She's
thing.
like, oh my God, did you hear that Kristin was like, hey, can I come over? You like left your hair tie at my place.
And she was like, I think I might want to make out with her. I'm just going to turn the corner with that. We could also look at it a little bit like maybe it's a bit of a pacifier for Cordelia. Like maybe this isn't like a permanent thing for her, but maybe she's been through
like a goo goo gaga.
Yeah, but like she's been through trauma, and it's like maybe she just needs a little bit of this like comforting old Cordelia stuff to like get her through. And she hasn't been able to speak her like she hasn't been able to truly say she's doing well in LA. So maybe she just wants to be able to say it and mean it. I'm making excuses for her because we just had sex.
Well,
I'm feeling intimate.
I know that's what you do for someone that you're really into.
Great fucking episode. I love this episode. I didn't even wait to be asked. I just demanded that I be here. So thank you for allowing me to,
of course,
talk about my beloved Cordelia, who I miss so much.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to this episode of Angel on Top. My name is Brittany Ashley. I am a writer. You can find all my stuff at BrittanyAshleyFunny.com and also follow me at Brit27Ash on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah, do it. Don't be a jerk. Do it. I am Kristin Russo, and you can listen to me talk about Buffy the Vampire Slayer whenever you'd like, but more specifically every other week on Buffering the Vampire Slayer. And you can learn more about me at KristinNoeline.com, which is KristinNoeline. Brittany shook her head back and forth to the rhythm of my name as I said those words. And you can also
the rhythm of your name.
And you can also use that spelling that I just gave to you to find me on Twitter and on Instagram as well.
And you can follow Angel on Top at Angel on Topcast on Twitter and Instagram. If you would like to give to us on Patreon and become a Patreon supporter, you can do so at patreon.com/angelontop. We also have a website, angelontop.com. And if you want to leave us a review on iTunes, that would be excellent so other angels can find us.
Ooh.
But we also have this sexy, sexy shirt. Kristin, please tell us about the shirt because you're the only one sitting here that has worn it.
I am. Actually, no. Oh, sitting here. Yes, you're right. The shirt is beautiful. It's a rust color. It's very soft cotton. And it has the angel logo on it. It says Angel on top. It's real cute. And if you're good at cutting t-shirts like I am, you can even contour it to your own body. Custom. And you can find it over in the Angel on Top store, which I believe you just go to the website and click on store, shop. Something like that. You'll figure it out. I want to tell you something that I haven't even told Brittany yet, which is about following you on Twitter, because I have some stuff that people have given to us that we want to use as giveaways.
Ooh.
So I know that two of the things, there are 4 giveaways, and I know that 2 of them, one is the complete DVD set of Angel.
Wow.
Yeah, which is pretty fucking rad. And another one of the giveaways is a fucking action figure of goddamn Cordelia. So
what?
Yeah.
Wait, I have a Buffy and I have a Faith and I have an Angel.
Oh, so we're taking this giveaway away.
Yeah, no.
Brittany, you have to follow Angel on Topcast on Twitter.
Okay, I'll do so.
And you'll be entered into the contest. But yeah, I thought it would be fun if you picked 4 of your Twitter followers to win some of these goodies. And maybe you can post about them on socials and they can find out more there.
I also have Angel trading cards and Angel magazines that I might be willing to add to this.
Holy shit. So just get yourself on over to the Angel on Topcast Twitter, follow them there, and you can learn more about these giveaways.
Room with a view. Loyal employees may challenge serenity, but a normal peopled life costs this workplace sacrifice. Gossiping calls from Cordettes, filthy shoes on my desk, merely agitate my mood. I remain statuesque. But it reaches new levels when she raids my home disheveled, impervious to scowls, making demands while I'm toweled. Desperate to reverse this overstayed welcome, I'll gladly fight the demon Doyle hides himself from. Cordy's flawless new digs put my mansion to shame. With such natural light, I'd engulf into flames. But anything perfect is suspect. The resident ghost won't relent. Cordelia stays, risking death. It's hard to find cheap rent. The aged, ghoulish foe tries to repeat her pattern, making vulnerable young women feel like they don't matter. She momentarily falls victim to this reverse Norman Bates, but no threat stands a chance against Sunnydale's Cordelia Chase.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Laureau, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth.
Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to the small town of Chinook, where faith runs deep and secrets run deeper. In this new thriller, religion and crime collide when a gruesome murder rocks the isolated Montana community. Everyone is quick to point their fingers at a drug-addicted teenager, but local deputy Ruth Vogel isn't convinced. She suspects connections to a powerful religious group. Enter federal agent V.B. Laureau, who has been investigating a local church for possible criminal activity. The pair form an unlikely partnership to catch the killer, unearthing secrets that leave Ruth torn between her duty to the law, her religious convictions, and her very own family. But something more sinister than murder is afoot, and someone is watching Ruth.
Chinook, starring Kelly Marie Tran and Sanaa Lathan. Listen to Chinook wherever you get your podcasts.